Today, we are going to make some grass. No, I'm not in Colorado, so it's not going to be that kind of grass. It's our techniques that are so simple and sensible, your mowers have practically built themselves.
Folks, it's Bad Dog Merv, and welcome to today's show. Today, we're going to do it just a little bit different, but this is the body from the 66 Chevelle kit. First, I'm going to go over with you how I use a spray can of Duplicolor, which is different than a lot of the other paints. So I'm going to show you that, and we're going to show you how this thing turned out, and I really like how it turned out. So let's get started. Went ahead and gave it a coat of 2X primer. Excuse me, and went over some of the little high spots with a polishing pad just to make sure I had all the boogers out of it. The problem was when I came to the hood, well, I decided to go with the snorkel hood scoop versus that other weird funky Mopar scoop that's in there as well, but this kit has the snorkel, so I went ahead and put this in. Did take me a little bit of working to get it worked out right, but you'll see the results here in just a minute.
Okay, so it's about 65 degrees out here in the doghouse right now. I will normally take my can and I'll boil some water on the, I'll get it just the point of boiling in a pot on the stove, and then I'll set this in there, turn off the heat, and let it sit for a couple of minutes is all. So that nice hot water will warm up the can, and that helps to increase the pressure and get a better spray pattern. And then you want to make sure and shake this thing up a couple of different times. I shook it up on the way in the house, shook it up on the way out, and now we're shaking it up just a little bit before we start. So I have prepped the body, gone over it with a tack rag, and now I'm going to give it a light coat. Notice how far away I'm holding this. I start spraying about here before I get the body, go across the body and stop spraying here. Now you'll notice that I've given it a light coat. You saw how many strokes I took. It wasn't very much. It covered pretty good, but not great. This is my base coat that I'm going to have the others bite to. Now, depending on the type of paint, these Duplicolors usually flash off pretty quickly, and I can put my next coat on. They spray great. At least that's been my experience. It depends on the type of paint. Some of the other paints I let flash off a little bit longer, but honestly this one, yeah, this one I can run my fingers across it already, being a lacquer base. So I want to just make sure that I don't have any bugaboos in my paint. Everything looks good. Okay, I'm going to give it another coat. This one's going to be a thicker coat. But you notice I'm doing it in quick little bursts. This will sag. If you get too much on here, it'll get away from you quickly if you're not careful. I'm going to turn it, take a look. It looks covered pretty well. I mean, you saw just the few little strokes I made on it, and it covered it very well. Okay, I could give it one more coat if I really felt it necessary, and I might will let this dry for a few hours now, and I will come back and see how I feel about it. But I'm probably just going to leave it as is. So we'll see how it is once it dries good in a couple hours.
Now, the one thing about this Duplicolor, it dries quickly and beautiful. Within an hour, here we are, and you can see it looks really good. It's ready for me to do the chrome trim and also the decaling. So I'm going to get going on that, and we'll show you that in the final reveal. So for the interior, I decided to do this with a blue that's very similar to what was actually used by General Motors. This was a can of Tester's custom lacquer system paint, and I want to say it was Caribbean blue if I recall correctly, but very similar to the interior color, one of the interior colors that they offered in 1966 on the Chevy Malibu interior. And again, I do the research, I look at the pictures, I want it to be as close as I can to the actual car. The carpet's kind of a funky blue, if you will. And so I painted that, but I didn't put any flocking on it. For the chrome trim on the sides, I used it's some chrome tape, novelty tape, and I just cut it very thin, just like using bare metal foil. All right, let's move on to the engine. Quick build, 427, just went right together, really nice. But you'll notice I did some wiring. I decided to go ahead and give it 1 hour's worth of detail, and I was going to stop at the end of that 1 hour. By the way, I went ahead and painted the frame rails for the tilt front end the same color as the body, and I just did that with a brush, decanning the paint. So for the spark plug wires, very simple. I have the yellow wire. I cut it to length from spark plug number 1 to spark plug number 8. I cut it 4 times, drilled right through the magneto, and then went from plug number 1 to number 8 to 7, that type of thing. Less than 20 minutes I had this thing wired. And you can see I went ahead and put some fuel lines on it using some bronze wire that I have. I use it for grab handles, all sorts of stuff. But it came in perfectly handy for the fuel lines on this. I was going to do a throttle linkage as well. I just ran out of time. Okay, I put myself on a time limit and I ran out of time. So here you go. Here is the finished product. One thing you'll notice is the side pipes. They look kind of chrome. Well, that's because I sprayed them with the Molotow liquid chrome, and it actually turned out pretty good. I had to be very careful and do that like the very last thing. Check out the nose on here. I don't like this. I don't like how those headlights turned out, although it is what it is. I used Mod Podge to stick those in there. The grill on the 66 is all black except for these 2 bars, one upper, one lower. So I replicated that the best of my ability. And here we go. Let's take a look. These rims came off of the Revell 1956 Chevy Bel Air. So 124 scale as well. And I think they look perfect here. I don't like the center lines. I don't really like center lines anyway, but I certainly don't like it on this project. I think the turbines are just the thing for this project. The hood flips up good, and you can see the detail inside there. I decided to go with just flat semi-gloss black for the engine compartment and under the tilt front end. I really like how those radial TA decals turned out on these tires. I think they look really, really good. I did put a bypass hose, you can see on the manifold there. I also put a regular radiator hose and 2 heater hoses. I did a little research on Malibu engine compartments, and that's what I came up with there. So a little bit of detail, but not a ton. What I really like about these side pipes is they look chrome without, like, the kit chrome is way over chromed, if that makes any sense. So anyway, one last thing is I added a rear view mirror or a side view mirror on the door. This kit didn't come with anything, no mirrors at all. So I got in my parts box. I found one that was kind of a little bit larger, round, very similar to what the 66 actually had. I don't know what it was out of, just in my parts box. So here is the finished product, folks. I hope you enjoy it. We'll see you again soon with another car build.